Good morning. I'm Steve Weber, and welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show. Today is Monday, January 4th, 2021. Today is the first day of the new year. So welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good holiday season and had a chance to put things in perspective, relax a little bit, spend time with family, do what the holidays are supposed to be all about. Of course, this last year was a little bit unusual, a little bit different. And hey, maybe we just got through the holidays. Who knows? But anyway, here we are on January 4th. And I'm excited because, the calendar, in some ways, of course, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like another day. And yet, it doesn't have to be just another day if we decide that it's something important, something special, something meaningful in a new way. And so that's how I've been thinking about this the last few weeks. And as this last week transpired, I thought, hey, it's an opportunity to start new, start fresh. So that's what we're doing here on the American Gumption Morning Show here on Spirituality Gone Wild. So today is going to be similar to one other show that I did, and I did that about 3 weeks ago. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to have 4 segments. I'm going to do 2 monologues. I'm going to do kind of an analysis of a show that I appeared on with Kristen a month ago, and she did a reading, and I'll do that in segment 2. I'm going to do a monologue in segment 1. I'm going to do the same title as like last Thursday's monologue, Gratitude 2020. So I'm going to repeat that same type of monologue, but I kind of focused it and narrowed it down a little tighter after doing some writing over the weekend. So first segment monologue is going to be Gratitude 2020. The second segment will be the reading that Kristen O did for me when I appeared on her show about a month ago. And I'll play segments, and then I'll do a little, and I'll stop and I'll do a little bit of a commentary on it, because I didn't necessarily do a good commentary on it when she was doing the reading. So we'll kind of dig deeper into that segment 2. Segment 3 is going to be probably the shortest segment, and that's going to be a Vision 2021. So that's just going to outline a couple of main themes that I'm going to have going through the year. I don't want to go I'm not prepared to go too deep into it and share with you the specifics, but what I am prepared to do is sort of lay out the big picture. So that's what I'll do. And then in our last segment, Joan of Angels, Miracles, Angels, and Gumption segment. She joined us a couple of weeks ago, and so she'll come and join us in the last 15 minutes. So each segment's going to be about 15 minutes long. The first and second probably slightly longer than the third, and then Joan will get her in for the last 15 minutes. So that's what is on today's agenda. So normally I do a monologue, the first 15 minutes or so, and then I have a guest that will pick up through the rest of the week. So let me tell you about what's going to happen tomorrow and Wednesday and Friday for certain with guests, and then Thursday to be announced. So tomorrow, Paul Sterling joins us. He is a relationship coach, and his book, he is the author of Argue Less and Love More. Argue Less, Love More. That's a pretty good idea for a relationship. So I'll stick around and see what Paul has to say tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. On Wednesday, Dina Brown Mitchell joins us, and I just met Dina in the last couple of weeks, and she's got an interesting story. She had a 7-figure business in March of this year, many years going on, like build it up over the years. And then COVID hit, and she shut the thing down within like 1 week, realizing that everything had changed. Of course, COVID didn't sneak up on us, but it was lurking. And then middle of March, boom, it all hit and everything went haywire. And she ended up just within 1 week time shutting down her business and starting a nonprofit, and now transitioning into a new for-profit business along with her nonprofit. So she'll tell her story on Wednesday morning. And then on Friday, Doug Nielsen, a friend from the National Speakers Association. Doug and I met 10 years ago when he was the president of the Mountain West chapter, and he gifted a book to me when I first met him, the Viktor Frankl story. And so Doug is going to join us on Friday, and we'll talk about the life and the philosophy of Viktor Frankl and how it affected Doug specifically, and now how it's affected me. And so anyway, I have Doug to thank for sharing Viktor Frankl, his story with me. So we'll share that story on Friday. All right, that's what's coming up in the week. All righty, now let's go ahead and shift into the monologue number one. And Tamara's out there saying hello. Hi, Tamara. Nice to see you here on the first day of the new year, the first work day of the new year. All righty, let's. So anyway, monologue number one is again. I said I did this. I want to say I did the same monologue, but here's what happened on Thursday, the last day of the year, show number 100. Last Thursday on December 31st. Walt Keller was our great guest who joined us that day, the Hollywood actor. But the monologue that way was titled Gratitude 2020. It was really just sort of like I kind of woke up and I went, gee, there was a lot of good things that happened this year. And I just did kind of a stream of consciousness as far as hitting on the highlights. I do a weekly Gump date. I send it out a newsletter to the people who enjoy. So please go to AmericanGumption.com and sign up for the weekly Gump date. It comes out Sunday mornings. But I decided this week to do, I ended up writing about it and I expanded on it. So this monologue today is Gratitude 2020, and it kind of takes those ideas that I had written about, or the ideas I talked about last Thursday, and then I wrote about, and I clarified my thinking a bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat what I think I am grateful, not what I think, I know what I am grateful for the last year. So I'm going to do a screen share, and we'll just get right into it. It's basically going to be, there's three main areas that I feel like I'm grateful for. We can switch it there. Let's do it that way. There we go. There's three main areas that I'm grateful for, but there's an introduction and there's kind of a wrap up. So it's going to be 5 little stories that I want to tell here in this monologue. All right. So number one is what I'll call disruption. And my life had a massive disruption in 2019. That was the year I decided to get rid of all the stuff that I had accumulated over the year. I got rid of not only physical stuff, but I got rid of some dreams and goals and visions that I had been hanging on to that I decided no longer served me. And so I ended up getting rid of all of those things. Really, in 2019 was the year that it culminated. It kind of started a year earlier, but the bottom line was 2019 was a massive disruption year for me. So then at the end of the year, at the end of October, I arrived back in Pennsylvania with family, and I've been there ever since. But as 2020 began, I was here and I was creating this vision of what I was going to do, in the next life chapter, in the next phase of my life. And so I had like a kind of an overall idea, but I didn't have it all specifically figured out. So as the year started, I really started like trying to build up on that idea. So when March came around and disrupted everybody, I had already disrupted my life massively the year earlier. And so COVID didn't like stop me in my tracks like it did a lot of people. And it didn't affect me from what I was doing day in and day out, because I was in this kind of reinvention phase from really the year earlier and was like plugging along. And so the fact that I just had to kind of keep plugging along, it didn't affect me in the same way that many others did. So I kind of looked at it like, okay, well, it's just maybe a little pause or a little delay in my vision, but it wasn't like I had to go, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I've got to stop and pivot. Like our guest on Wednesday, Dina, her story is all about, I didn't have to do that. I just was like, okay, well, let's just go figure this out. So that's the beginning of it. Now, the first thing I want to say of what I am grateful for is family. And I have been with my sister Eileen and brother-in-law Gary. There they are in the back of the photo between Dad. Dad celebrated his 92nd birthday on Saturday, January 2nd, and my younger brother Ken on the left and myself there on the right. And so we all were together. Now I've had an opportunity to, be in a safe place during COVID. We've been very conscientious of keeping Dad healthy, so we've been minimizing the amount of minimize the direct contact we've had with the outside world. Not like we're living isolated completely, but we're certainly not running around doing what we used to do and being out there and about. And so we were very conscientious of that. But the beautiful thing is that I've been in this safe place, and it's been safe physically, but also safe mentally, in that I've been in a nice calm atmosphere in which to do this creative work that I've been doing this last year and really want to do going forward. And so it's been a lot of preparation and starting the show, blah, blah, blah. I'll get to that in just a second. All right. So family. The last thing I want to say about the family is that I've been this lone wolf. I left at age 22, went to California, and I've been flying solo ever since then. I went to Montana 11, 12 years ago by myself, so I've been flying solo. So coming back and being with family this last year has been an opportunity to reconnect with people that I always loved and stayed close to, but also kept distance from. I rightly or wrongly, I chose that I was just going to go do it my own way and be independent and some would say stubborn. And so anyway, that's been the life, that's been the journey that I've been on. So this year has also allowed me to come back and heal some of those feelings that I've had about needing to be completely independent. And independence, not a bad thing, but taking independence to the degree that I did, I'm rethinking that. We're rethinking that. All right. So anyway, it's been an opportunity to clean up some old beliefs around family, because we in our young years, that's where we get the foundation. So coming back and being with family in this safe place has been very healthy for me, both emotionally and physically during this last year of COVID. All right. So number 2 is spirituality gone wild. That group has become, let's see, why is that not changing over? Here we go. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So spirituality gone wild, I'm grateful for, because I met Debbie G in July, and in August I began the American Gumption morning show. I had been planning to do something. The American Gumption project was started a year earlier, so it wasn't like I didn't quite know. I knew I needed to do some kind of a virtual show to get things started, to kick the project off, as because COVID was in that lockdown phase. And so my original idea was I was going to travel around and meet people and interview them and somehow start a YouTube channel, or I wasn't quite sure what it was. Anyway, it became a virtual channel. It became something that I was doing these interviews, and I did quite a few of them over the course of the next 5 months. I'll tell you the exact number in a second. So anyway, but being part of a team and a movement, spirituality gone wild, that's given me that. I mentioned the lone wolf part, right? Giving that up, not needing to be the lone wolf, realizing that being part of a group is actually easier. It motivates and inspires me. These people that I'm with, Debbie G and the other hosts and people who have become my friends and co-creators with what we're attempting to do. More on that to come as the year, develops. But there's a lot of exciting things, and being part of that team has really inspired and motivated me. And really, it's an opportunity for me to learn from them, because these are people who share the ideals and beliefs that I do. So that's kind of that's been a fun thing. Very, very grateful for that as far as the whole year goes. All right. So now the next piece is the American Gumption morning show. 100 shows. That's what I did in 5 months. So very proud of that fact. Feel good about it. It's an accomplishment. I kind of just put my blinders on and just kind of went for it. And I didn't worry so much about, the details of how all the shows were going to go. I just like was brute force, like running forward with it, making them happen, making sure that I was showing up every day and doing it. And the first couple of months had its flavor, and then the last couple of months had its flavor, and kind of decidedly, a different feel of it. So, but I'm grateful that I've been able to learn from the guests who come on the show. That's I loved being a student the last 10 years when I was in Montana, and I was doing a lot of the personal development work and kind of figuring out where I was going to go with how I was going to spend this chapter of my life that I'm into now. And so I get to do that every day with the show. I get to experience the guest and get to learn from them and be part of it. I love showing off who they are and, letting them shine and letting them be in the spotlight. That's the goal that I have with bringing them on board. All right. So continue. And it's fun for me. This is fun. This show is it turns on at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, and I have to be ready to go. And so I kind of go into this routine of how to prepare for it. But it's like, boom, once it starts, it becomes this fun thing and doing it. And I continue to improve and reach out to more people. And so it's a lot of fun. And as the first 100 shows, let's say the first 50 of them were they were kind of okay, but they were not anything great, just because I didn't know what I was doing. And then the second 50 started to kind of come in. So my goal is to do more quality shows as I go forward. And I'll mention that in the next monologue section after I do the Kristen O reading. All right. And then finally, so kind of wrap this up. So there was 3 things I said: family. And so let's see here. Let's repeat them: family, spirituality gone wild, and then the American Gumption morning show. Those are the 3 biggies in terms of what am I grateful for that happened this last year. Time spent with family, meeting, spirituality gone wild, and doing 100 shows. Not necessarily 100 shows, but the whole idea of the show is perfect. All right. So as I was writing my weekly update, Gump date, I realized that there were several years, and I said a handful of years that were massive change years. And then the rest of the years were average years. So if you look at roughly 40-year period, I think there's about 7 years. So it's more than a handful. It's but it's not 2 handfuls. It's somewhere in between 1 handful and 2 handfuls. So what is that? Let's just say it's 7. 7 years. Massive change. The beginning of the year and the end of the year, like where I was in terms of my mindset and my physicality and what I was doing, radically different from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And then those other years, those other 33 or so years, were kind of like what I'll call average years, where, not a whole lot changed during the course of the year. And I used the phrase steady as she goes. There was improvement, but it wasn't like a radical. It wasn't like a massive change year. It was just sort of you just sort of took a lot of baby steps, and nothing wrong with that. So, but as I think about it, I went, you know what? There's not enough years left on Earth to live average. I want to live, I want to live heaven here on earth, right? I want to do massive change. I want to do creative stuff. And so anyway, I've done 2 years in a row of massive change, meaning where I started the year and where I ended the year, were pretty dramatic. 2019, 2020, both massive change years. And 2021 needs to be a massive change year also. And really 2022 and 2023, this is the goal that I have going forward. So that's it. That's what I'm grateful for, 2020. Alrighty, let's go ahead and, wrap that up and say, hey, I am grateful for the last year. Alrighty, now, let's see here. I'm going to change my banner. I'm going to stop the screen share. I'm talking, I'm telling myself what to do. Thank you for allowing me to talk to myself. All right. So now, Kristen O, I appeared on her show on Monday evening, the December 7th. There it is, Monday evening, December 7th. And she did a reading. And so Kristen is kind of like a card reader. And she it's sort of like a channeling from source energy, and she is developing her skills that way. And she's part of the Spirituality Gone Wild team, and she invited me to be on her show, and she did a reading, and it took about 8 or 9 minutes total. And I've broken it up into 5 segments. And so segment 1, she asked me if there's a woman in my life, and I didn't have really a very good answer. So we'll talk about that. But let's replay segment 1 from the reading on December 7th on the Kristen O Show.
Okay, I'm going to read for you.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, take a breath. Wow. Steve, is there a woman in your life?
Not really.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of like fantasy women in my life, including you.
I see a woman. I see a beautiful, beautiful flowering woman and man. So that's a beautiful look at. Can I show? I don't know if you can see it. Look what I pulled. Can you see those people?
Wow.
That's like awesome. I mean, like, but if I pulled this, I'd be like, yes, my man is coming. So what that means to me is whether you've met her yet or not, you are on this spiritual awakening path, and you know this, and she is too. Maybe it's me. I don't know. This is a very spiritual woman and a spiritual man together as a team.
So Kristen says, is there a woman in your life? And I'm like, not really. I didn't know how to answer that. And, but I thought about it. And yes, the idea of that, of a woman in my life has been alive and well for the last multiple years. It's been alive and well for all of my life. But in the last, let's just say 5 years, I've been able to, I've done enough cleaning up in my life to know why every relationship that I ever had failed, and ultimately decided that I was the reason for it. And, I'll forgive myself and just say, look, I just had blind spots. I wasn't ready. And that's the way it was. But, since then, I've come to the conclusion that no, this would actually be a good thing to have someone to share my life with. And so I've been thinking about it. I've been preparing and planning and wanting for that to happen. And so maybe I haven't wanted it to happen as much as I wanted the American Gumption project to happen. But, in some ways I see them as kind of a parallel path. And so I believe that a woman could indeed be part of my life in the future, as Kristen said. And the fact that she is a spiritual awakening woman, that would be, a good thing. So what does she look like? Maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow when Paul comes on. Maybe I'll do that in the monologue tomorrow. And as Paul comes and joins us, the relationship coach, and his book, Argue Less, Love More. So we'll save that. All right, let's go to segment 2, which is sadness. She talks about. Here it is. She asked me is there sadness in my life?
Now, I do see some other situations. I do see a little bit of like sadness, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so I see some adventure coming your way, but then I see like sadness. Do you know why you'd be pulling any kind of sorrow or sadness? Not really?
Not really. Yeah.
No? Okay. I think, all right. I see adventure.
Yeah.
I see sorrow, and then I see postponement. Maybe you're postponing on your adventure and you're sad about it. Could that be it?
Yeah.
I pulled adventure, sorrow, and postponement, which is like a little bit sad that you're not moving on to your adventure.
Again, she caught me off guard with like sadness. I don't think of myself as a sad person, but this was a month ago when she asked me that question. So I initially thought I was going to do this kind of a segment like a day or two later. and respond to it. But then, it just never happened. And today became the right day to do that. So here I am. So, but since then, that's been like working on me, and I've been thinking about that. So I don't think it's a sadness, but there is a not allowing joy or as much joy, and allowing joy to be front and center. Again, the last couple of weeks I've been like thinking about what Kristen mentioned, and like it's like, am I sad? And I'm like, I don't think I'm sad, but am I joyful? And I'm like, I don't think I'm joyful. Maybe I should be more joyful. So one of the very clear intentions I have going forward is to just have a lot more joy in everything that I do. And even today, when I listed my goals for the day, I said, new day, new week, new day, new week, new year, more joy in your life. And, reminding myself that, take joy in every little activity that I do and allow more joy to come up. And if you think about, the idea of work and struggle, and maybe some foundational issues like that you live with, work and struggle, they're not like joyful. And so, am I still holding on to that type of a mindset, and can I let that go and have more joy day in and day out? I think so. So that was it. So I like what Kristen said, and I appreciate it. And our friend Scott Stanfield, I'm assuming he's referring to the woman in my life. Her name is Jenny. He says, "Thank you, Scott." Yes, that's perfect. Yes, her name is Jenny. We'll just leave it at that. All right. Now the next segment. This goes on a little bit longer, and she talks about energy, and she talks about a behind the scenes energy, Kristen does. And then she talks about water, and there's surface water, and then there's the deep ocean water. And those are different kinds of levels of water and different levels of energy. So let's go ahead and see what Kristen has to say about that.
I also see an energy in your life that isn't seeing you for who you truly are in behind the scenes. So I see an energy that you're dealing with that sees you one way, but you sees you like a surface water, but you're like the deep ocean, and we're missing like the ocean part of existence. So I'm not sure who that is, but I want to let you know that energy is there. And what's interesting is that energy pulled right in between this beautiful woman and this beautiful man. So maybe you're going to meet her.
That would be fun.
I mean, I think you're ready for a relationship anyway.
Yeah. There's I've done some work in that area. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to be with someone who's vibrationally.
Yeah. I was going to comment on the deep ocean part. This has been a real struggle. In the sense that, being the character for 15 years, I had to suppress Steve during that time. And I wasn't even sure who Steve was during that time. And so the awakening part, and yet wanting to maybe hang on to this character that was lots of fun and brought lots of joy, and yet at the same time discover, my own purpose, that there's been a little bit of, confusion about that. So that's that part, I'm pretty sure. I was on with Stream of David over the weekend, and we something that he said, made me recognize that I've actually made progress in this area. And if we have a mindset of lack, like as soon as I get this, I'll be happy, or as soon as I get the relationship, I'll be happy, or as soon as I get the new car, as soon as I go to Montana, in my case, I'll be happy. So we have these ideas. Well, then what happened in my own life is I shifted to, as soon as I get clarity in what I need to do next, I'll be happy. And so I was still like working from a lack perspective, not necessarily, not like I was like waiting for something to happen to allow myself to, to be happy and experience that joy. And so anyway, when Stream was doing what he did on New Year's Day, and I was part of the panel, I realized that those feelings of not having clarity, I don't have those as much anymore, or they're not like front and center like they used to be. They've kind of moved on. So this awakening, like it's like, oh, actually, I know what I need to go do here. Now I just need to go do it. Oh, and I should actually just be happy while I'm going and doing it. And so we're moving into that, and that whole thing is happening. And so what Kristen was saying is really that leftover energy of being uncertain about where I was supposed to go to it. And the character part was wonderful. And when I finished working for Bubba Gump, I wanted to take the character and do the next phase of my life. And I wanted to bring the character along with me. And yet I didn't know who I was. And so I needed to decide who I was and what I wanted to do. And that turned out to, be a little bit of a, that turned out to be like looking in the mirror and, deciding what I liked and what I didn't like, and then making changes so that when I look in the mirror, I like what I see. And so that's the work that's, been ongoing, and the clarity part has come as a result of that. And so I think the deep ocean part, being like the big body of water that doesn't move around much, you don't see the movement. You sit on the top, you see all the surface part. And then Joe Lair, a week ago Monday, the Monday after or the Monday before Christmas, we talked about front yard, backyard, right? I had the front yard that looked good, but the backyard was a mess. That's that surface, that's the front thing that people see, the top waves, and then down below, people didn't see it because I wasn't willing to share it or didn't know what to share as a result of it. So that's that. All right, now let's move on to part number 4. And she talks about fear. This is the longest one. This goes for 3 minutes already. And this is fear.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I also see a little bit of, okay, so I want to talk about the vibrational pattern of fear, because it's such a quiet that maybe it's not so much quiet as it is so much a part of our everyday existence. So even me coming on here right now, I have this this little bit of fear, or me taking those next steps. I have that little bit of fear, but it's such a it's so quiet that sometimes I don't recognize what it feels like inside of my energy. But I'm working on that, because I noticed that fear in my life has stopped me from really doing a lot of things. And this is from me. I can only speak from where I'm at. So I did see that this pulled up. Now, I also see that it pulled up with some communication. So when it pulls up with communication, that means sometimes we're feeling like we're a little afraid to communicate some of the important, I don't know if it's boundaries, but, we're feeling like we can't communicate effectively or in a healthy manner. And so in a way, we have that little bit of fear inside. Now, all I just want to say is, when you feel that energy inside of you, so what I do, again, my sadhana, is when I feel that energy, I have labeled and identified what the feeling or what the energetic pattern of fear feels like inside my soul, inside my field. So I make a decision to do something, and then I feel that little bit of, well, I don't know, are you really good enough to do that? Do people, this is me, I can't speak for you, but do people really want to hear can you really do this? Maybe you should go back to your day job, or whatever that tells me. And so what I have to do is say, oh, wait a minute. I know what this is. I recognize what this is. This is fear. In fact, I felt it when I was walking over here with my dogs. I felt that fear, that a little bit of anxiety about our show, a little bit of fear about coming on, a little bit of fear of what people will think, and so what I do is remind myself what it is. I remind myself that I'm feeling it. And then I remind myself that this is not my energy. This is not my energy. This fear comes from other places, other people, past situations, past circumstances. it's actually not, it's not part of the onion layers that we're peeling back. So we're just going to peel it and toss that one away. So when you start to feel that way, especially when it comes to you having to communicate something important about yourself, just recognize what that feels like inside of you so that you can say, this is not my energy. It no longer serves me right now. No, thank you. And then we just shift out of it.
Yeah, well, here I am being a communicator, doing a show, 4 or 5 days a week. And, yes, fear, who wants to listen to what I have to say? Who cares, about that? I mean, this has been going on for several years. When I sat on the bench for 15 years, I had a certain fear that, people then, would look at me and think that I'm just a phony or an impersonator. And then, of course, I overcame that, right? And it lasted 15 years. And then I became a speaker and talking about using the life lessons from the movie and Gumption principles. But then it was like the same kind of thing, fear of like, gee, do people really want to listen to this? And so, and now, of course, the American Gumption show is on and it's going on. And so the first 2 months, I did all of my safe monologues. And then the last couple of months, I've been stretching out, doing these kind of things where I'm putting myself out there a bit more. And I didn't do a great job of answering Kristen when she, did these things, but I thought about them for the last couple of weeks, and I think she was spot on, and I'm grateful that she did. Now, the last segment I have with Kristen was basically just basically me finally commenting on it and collecting my thoughts a little bit. And I'll just mention some of the last things I repeat some of the things I just said now. Can I comment on that?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the first 2 months that I did my show, I talked, all of my monologues and my speaking were all things that I was talking about for the last several years. So they were tried and tested, and I was very comfortable speaking about them. And of course, I joined Spirituality Gone Wild, not necessarily thinking that was my path, but the opportunity presented itself and the timing was perfect, and I trusted and went with it. And what happened was I began having more and more conversations like this. And while I had some of these conversations with different people in what we'll call a counseling or coaching situation, it's not the type of things that I had been regularly talking about. And so now in the last 2 months, I find myself, going out on a limb with the topics that I am talking about, and they're not topics that I had been used to publicly talking about. And so that is, I think that's exactly what you're sensing. And I've already been aware of that. And so I'm glad that you brought it up, because it's really, and so the amazing thing is while there is that nervousness about talking about things that, oh, well, what will they think about if I talk about this? Oh, that's that. Oh, he's talking about that crazy stuff. That's kind of the woo-woo stuff.
I know. I feel the same way.
And so, and yet there's an awful lot of people who, who it makes sense to, and who want to hear this. Yeah, the topics that we don't talk about in public, we sort of, talk to people who we feel safe in sharing it with, and that's cool. We don't want to try to convert people. We don't want to preach to people. We just want to share what is our truth and find other people who share that same truth with us. And of course, that involves stepping out of our comfort zone and saying the things like this that are kind of, uncomfortable conversations to have, only uncomfortable because we just haven't had them before. And so when I had showed the slide earlier, maybe I'll show it one more time because it just seems like it fits. Here we go. The massive change years versus the average years. The massive change years have always been the years that I've been uncomfortable and because I've been doing things that I wasn't used to doing. And I feel more alive in those years. And the average years when, you just keep making a lot of small baby steps, or, maybe not big steps at all, you're not alive. I'm not alive. And so I decided that I need to be doing more of that, not less of that. All righty. Well, anyway, thank you, Kristen, for doing what you did in terms of giving that reading. I afterwards, I thought I need to do a better job of responding to some of the things that she talked about. And so this was the opportunity to do that. Alrighty, now we've got Joan coming up in just a couple of minutes, but I want to do one more quick little monologue segment. And let's just change one thing here back to American Gumption. All right, so where are we going in the future with this thing here? So here it is, segment 3, the vision for 2020. So what I did in 2020, vision for 2021, what I did in 2020 was 100 shows in 5 months. So my goal is to do 200 shows in the coming year. So that's in 12 months, right? So I'm going to be doing an average of 4 shows per week instead of 5 shows per week, roughly. That's going to be what's going to happen. It's still a massive effort. And so I don't feel like I need to apologize for it, but I do. There's other things that have to start happening, and I've just been focused on doing the shows. And so we're going to go ahead and do 200 shows. We're not going to do 240, which would be, would be 20 shows a month. We're going to do basically 200 shows this coming year. All right. I'm going to increase, and I'm going to improve the quality of the next 100 shows. So I did 100 shows, and I'm going to get the quality of the next 100 shows up to the quality level that these last 20 or 30 shows have kind of jumped up to, because the first 20, 30 shows, there was all kinds of, there was technical stuff, and I just wasn't as comfortable. So anyway, we're going to improve that. We're going to improve the quality of the monologues, the guest interviews. I'll ask better questions. I'll stay more focused. I'll prepare better for the guest. More segments like Brandon, like Stacy Redfield, who's going to do a health and wellness regular segment with us coming up. Joan of Angels coming up in just a minute or two, going to do she's doing regular segments, and there's going to be other people like that. My original vision was to do a variety show, so I need to bring more of those segments in, and I will bring more of those segments in. And then the transitions, going from one topic, one guest, those will get better, intros and outros, that sort of thing. All right. And then the other thing about the shows is that I will do highlight shows. So there has to be some post-production that will take place so that, on the days that I'm not doing a new live show, I can just run a kind of a best of show, something like that. So that'll all happen. Another very important thing that has to happen is that I have to monetize this. I've been running along just with the faith and belief that I'm doing the right thing and it's all going to work out. And I still have that, but I do need to monetize it. And that'll either be done in one of basically 2 different ways. I'll either promote products and services, or I'll sell products and services. So promoting would be, other people's products and services, and selling would be like my own products and services. And the third piece, which could be a combination of both of the above, is that, I'll work for someone else. Somebody out there is going to align with what this show is all about, and I'm going to work for their organization and do work specific for them internally that does kind of something similar to what I'm doing here externally, and there'll be a full alignment for it. So that is going to happen. And who that is, I don't know yet, but that's forthcoming. And then and then the third piece. So the first one was just about the 200 shows. The second one was the monetization. Third one is taking it on the road. I'm going to live and work on the road in an RV for the next couple of years. That's for sure. And what that looks like, I still don't know exactly. It'll have something to do with who my primary sponsor is. I'm pretty sure of that. Who I'm working for, that'll be a big piece of it. But that's all yet to come. But there's going to be a studio in the RV that's all set up, and I'm just going to be able to, we'll be post-COVID by then. We'll be able to actually have interviews face to face and sit down type things. There'll be a little, the studio, this thing here right now that is in the house of my sister will now be, out on the road. And of course it'll look different than this, but it'll be out there and going. And as Debbie G threw out there, it'll be a reality show. I mean, there's going to be a reality show aspect of this thing, and I don't know what that's going to be. Now, the fourth thing I want to talk about for 2021 is relationships. So the team is the first thing I'm going to mention. I'll need to build a team that supports this. And, who is that sponsors, the tech support to make all of this happen, things that I've mentioned before as far as a producer and people that I work with to help make all this behind the scenes stuff happen so that I can come and do the show and then go and do the show on the road. Spirituality Gone Wild, important relationship. The other co-creators, the people who come into the community, we're all attracting, all of us individual co-creators / hosts are attracting people in, and yet the people that we attract in will like whatever I'm doing. They'll like some of what the other people are doing. They'll like what Joan's doing, and the people that Joan brings in, Joan of Angels brings in, they'll like what's happening there too. And then they'll kind of put the, what Kristen said, is there a woman in your life? I'm open. That's going to happen. And it'll be somebody who is in alignment with it and shares that same kind of vision of what's going to, what would be fun to do out there on the road, meeting people, and how that all looks. I don't know yet, but it's all happening, and I believe it. And it's one of those miracles of life. And we'll just leave it at that. So the four things are the shows, 200 shows for the year. Figure out how to monetize this and make this a successful business. Taking it on the road, that will happen. And then the relationships of the different people that I'm working with. And really that lone wolf that I had mentioned earlier, that has to be a thing of the past. And so that'll be just a memory. All righty, that's that. Now, we've already used up a minute of Joan's time, but we'll just go a few minutes long. We'll let Joan have as much time as she possibly wants. Let's see here. It's the Miracles, Angels, and Gumption segment coming up here on the American Gumption Morning Show. Good morning, Joan of Angels.
I feel like dancing when I hear that, Steve.
Well, we get you up early, and why not start your day with a dance?
And I do every day. I step out every day, I leap out of tall buildings in a single bound like Superman. It's been my motto forever because I'm always filled with fire and passion about what I do. Like you, it's a gumption. So good morning. Happy beginning of the new year of 2021.
Yeah, this is the second time that you've come on and done this segment, and we want to do it on a regular basis. We haven't quite decided if it's going to happen like once a month or, every 2 or 3 weeks. We'll just figure that out as it goes along. Spirit will tell us what the right thing is. But I would like to just turn it over to you and let you share what message you have with the American Gumption Morning Show this morning.
Sweet. And so I'm going to give you some opportunities to step in. Okay. But I want to comment on your goals and visions and dreams for a specific reason. 2021 is the year of freedom, personal and planetary freedom, which is so exciting. For all of us, you think freedom and you want to leap for joy. Listen, all those goals and dreams you have are amazing. And so the year, and you're right in alignment with the theme of the year, 2021, a year of freedom. But what's the opposite of freedom is restriction and limitations. So we always have that option for freedom, that opportunity for freedom. But the challenges we face are those things that could restrict our freedom. So you mentioned COVID thing, okay? Or, just not having the place to live or not having what you need to do what you're going to be doing, okay? So in this year coming up, it's really a wonderful experience of, okay, what is it that my intention is, my focus, like, and I'm using you as an example, Steve, because you just actually went on and listed all your dreams, but your visions for the year. So you've given me material to work with, but this is for everyone, like, what do we want to accomplish this year? And it's really important to not just say, oh, that's ridiculous. I can just go along with the flow. So going along with the flow in 2021, it's not actually on the outer world. If you look at what's still happening with the pandemic and virus, we're not actually free yet. Okay. So the outer world doesn't have a sense of freedom. So the only place to go is to start going inside, if that makes sense, and build it up very strong inside, because when we build it up on the inside, on those astral and other dimensions, we can bring it down. So this is really important to not see the outer world as being limited, by the way, but seeing it as, okay, this is an opportunity for me to be more creative than ever. This is an opportunity for me to align my body, mind, and spirit for success. And guys, that's what I do. When I talk about body, mind, and spirit alignment, I'm actually a chiropractic, oracle, intuitive minister of peace, love, and miracles. Okay. And I help you align your body, your mind, your spirit, so you can get what you want. Because it's really important that your spirit really have this antenna or a compass, and you don't lose sight of where you're going, which is why I'm starting a class this month, by the way. Last month, I set up my 5-day challenge to walk the miracle path. And starting Saturday, I have a free class that starts this Saturday. It's a master class on knowing what you're here to do. Like, so how do you know what you're here to do? And on Saturday, I'm going to start teaching that. And then I'm going to be having a class, an 8-week class on, I call it the ultimate personal power mastery. So you get the picture, right? It doesn't matter exactly what I call it. What matters is that you get the intention is to raise up your vibration, to break free of all your limitations, no matter what the outside world might be presenting, or your inside world, by the way. Some of our limitations come from inside. So that does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, having clarity is one of the things that is so important. I mean, it's really the most important thing. And as I I don't think you were here, but I reflected back to what the stream of David said on New Year's Day, and I was a guest panelist on his show, and I realized as I was listening to the stream that I had been operating in lack as far as what my purpose was. And so I thought, as soon as I figure out my purpose, then I can be happy, then I can move forward. And when I heard what David was saying, I realized that was an old feeling that I have abandoned. And so I do have clarity around that. So anybody who maybe is looking for some help with that, your class sounds perfect.
Oh my God. So I've been teaching about miracles for years and years and years. I formed the Miracle Makers Club in actually 1998 with my kids. And then we went on to just really launch miracles on the planet. But I want to say a few other things, guys. So Steve embraces gumption. Okay. I think the key to this year for everyone is to find a word that embraces the energy of what you want to achieve. Okay. So Steve is embracing gumption, like courage, guts. And he even named the show after that, which I love it because that gives you the gumption every day to do it. And so that's the secret to our success this year. What is it that you're here to achieve? Okay. And want to be made manifest. Now, I'm not sure I can get my vision down into one word yet for the year, but I'm putting myself out there. And that's the key. What is to want what you're doing so badly, you're willing to leap over tall buildings in a single bound to get there. And so it motivates you to get up at 5 a.m. and to leap out. It motivates you to go past your comfort zone. And it motivates you to say, okay, I'm one with the universe. These visions that I have are not just mine. They were gifted to me. They're part of what I'm here to do. And this is my year to say yes to my destiny. And this is your year to say yes to your destiny. There's so much power when you turn on that freedom. It's the freedom to live your truth. It's the freedom to call in what you need to be you. So it's extremely empowering. Oh God, you can't make this up. I've been sitting here. The cards are right here. This is my deck, guys. You can get it on my website, by the way. It's messages from the Masters of Miracles. They came to me. They asked to be, this is all my artwork, not all, but 44 paintings of my artwork on a card. But wait till you see it. So when you line up your body, mind, and spirit for miracles, for stepping into your destiny, for freedom, everything lines up. Like for Steve, the right guests, the right energy, the right power, the right places. He's going to come to my sanctuary in the desert here. He doesn't know that yet, but I know it's on his agenda. We'll have a reunion here in the desert for all of us. But everything lines up to give you what you want. In fact, tonight we're going to be talking about that on my show, The Miracle Makers Club, at 7 p.m. California time. But I have a show tonight, and I have the Reverend Dr. Sharon Stroud on, and she's my minister. She ordained me last month. We are going to be laying the foundation for miracles. In fact, I called the show Prepare for Miracles. So why am I so excited? Look at the name of the card. Can you read it out loud, Steve?
Freedom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can't make this up. It showed up. Synchronicity. You are in the flow. Spread your wings and take flight. So this is a year about getting into the flow of freedom. And when you see an obstruction, meaning shit, boop, meaning, oh my God, I can't get in. I'm stuck. Okay. See it as like an obstruction. Okay. And flow around it. That's all. Flow around it. COVID says you can't go here. Well, go here, go that way. Or, you have a restriction or an obstacle, go around it, dissolve it. That's the key to this year. I love that I picked the right card. And just remember, you were in the right place at the right time. You were most perfectly on your path. So again, I'm on tonight. I'd love to have you join my show tonight. It would be an honor. And you'll love Dr. Stroud. Sign up and take my class. And you can definitely, I do have a link and so does Steve. We all have links. So feel free to join the Untamed Club with us and look for my class that's coming up for this week on Saturday. You're going to love it. It's a master class. I'm going to teach you what tools I use to do my readings, my soul awakening sessions, which are simply fantastic.
JoanofAngels.com is her website. It's listed right below. Her show is on Spirituality Gone Wild. You can find it via the Facebook page or the YouTube channel, or just go to Joan of Angels, and that's probably the easiest way to connect. And then you're starting your master class on Saturday, and it's the Personal Power Mastery or something like that. But the point is that you're going to help people get clear on their vision in terms of what it is that they want to do. And that's a hard thing. People struggle with that. And, and maybe it's because of, historically, we have so much like, you can't do this, you should do that, all those kinds of voices that, remain from a long time ago. And if we could just learn to let those go and allow the miracles to come in, they start showing up in abundance.
And claiming them as our birthright. Spirit wants us to have these visions and dreams. Like Steve, Spirit wants you to show what gumption looks like. And for each and every one of you, that's what happens. Spirit wants you to do you. Only you can do you. So join the team.
Yeah. And the team, of course, is Spirituality Gone Wild. You want to become a member of the Untamed Club. And it's not just myself and Joan. There's dozens of us. And it's growing. And you're going to end up with, and the nice thing, Joan, is that people who relate to you and get attracted to it, they're going to find other people that they can relate to. And maybe they'll find some people that, they're not quite ready for, but in time, they'll end up learning to appreciate those people. So, this simple membership allows you access to all of the different teachers and spiritual guides and angels and miracle makers and whatever special names we have for all the people.
I love it. I love it. So guys, freedom. That means get your angel wings on, get your groove on, and just go for it. Get into that stream and go for it. And keep watching Steve, because I see that he is our role model in gumption.
Well, thank you, Joan. Joan, before we say goodbye, you're going to have Dr. Sharon on tonight with you. What will you be talking about?
Oh my God, prepare for miracles. We are going to do a prayer treatment that works. And oh my God, I met Sharon a year ago. And since then, I've noticed that every prayer treatment, everything I've done with her actually has taken me closer to my vision of who I am and where I'm going. And that's why I'm excited to share her tonight. These prayer treatments work. They're part of the New Thought Spiritual Center Worldwide, Ernest Holmes, and the power of miracles. That's what we're going to launch 2021 with.
I love it. How was your Christmas? We invited you to come today because it was the beginning of the new year. Did you put a nice exclamation point on the end of 2020? And did you have time to enjoy a little bit of love and family time?
So my daughter's been living in London the last year, and she came home for the holiday home. Her dad lives up north. I live down here, but she ended up extending her stay with me for an extra week. So she's going to be with me a total of 11 nights. She leaves Friday, but it's been a miracle because since college, it's like I haven't had more than 2 days at a time with her or 3 days, and this has been, I'm in the middle of it, and it's been so loving to renew this with my daughter.
Oh, that's wonderful. So it turned, I love how you said it's a miracle that she was able to stay that extra week. And
yes.
And that's what being a miracle maker is all about. It's not like you're making miracles for others. You're just teaching you're just giving people permission, helping them to give themselves permission to allow the miracles to come into their own lives. Yes.
And helping them set themselves up to catch their miracle wave. And there's a process to do that. And first, there's a vibrational process to, like a surfer, right? You just don't go in the middle of the ocean and think you're going to surf. You have to prepare. First of all, you have to get in shape. Okay. Not me, but then you have to paddle to get out there. You have to know you have to know when your moment is, and you're prepared. And that's what we do. We train ourselves to be so ripe and ready that we are right there. And then what we want comes to us. And I actually had been saying one of the things I wanted this year was to deepen my intimacy with my daughter. And my logical mind said, oh, Joan, that's impossible. Your daughter's in London. She lives in London. She only has this little window for you. And it was like, I'm not going to claim how it's going to happen, but it's what I want to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And it happened organically. I never said a word to her, like change your work or anything. Who knew that they would even do that? It just happened organically. So that's what happens when you prepare.
Yeah, I love it. You're aligning it, you're allowing it, and then it's just happening. And it's part of the miracle world. Thank you. We will see you next time. Thank you so much, Joan. Have a wonderful 2021, but we will see you we'll see you in a few weeks or whenever we do.
All right. Over and out, everyone. And be free. Break free, loves. Ciao.
All right. Grateful for Joan of Angels joining us today, as she will be joining us every few weeks on Mondays. Her show is on Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. on the West Coast. And tonight she's with Dr. Sharon, who is her spiritual guide. And so that is going to be a great show. So tune in tonight to see Joan of Angels on her very own show right here on Spirituality Gone Wild. All righty, everybody. I'm a couple minutes over the hour, but that's okay. We don't have strict rules yet here on the American Gumption show and on Spirituality Gone Wild. But we're having fun every day. Tomorrow we're going to come back. Paul Sterling joins us. He is a relationship coach and the author of Argue Less and Love More. On Wednesday, Dina Brown Mitchell, and her story is one of during COVID, she went from a 7-figure business to in 1 week to shutting the whole business down and opening a .org. So we'll talk about her transformation and how she used this year to reposition herself and how she's moving forward from it. And then on Friday, Doug Nielsen, and Doug and I know each other from the Speakers Association 10 years ago, but he gave me a book on Viktor Frankl. I did not know who Viktor Frankl was at the time, and we'll have Doug come on and talk about the life and the influence and the wisdom of Viktor Frankl. So that'll be on Friday's show. And Thursday, to be announced. I'll let you know what's going to happen on Thursday. Alrighty, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate your being here. Thank you so much. I will see you all tomorrow.